Good day to one and all. This is Dr. Sivaraman of iknowindices.com. If you are able to hear me, let me display the PowerPoint presentation. Asian session live market analysis on December 27th between 5 and 5:30 GMT. So it's the last week of the year and also the month. So we expect some extraordinary moves in the market, even though many attribute that it is a holiday season. So the market could have thin volume and may not make any significant move. So let us analyze how exactly the players intend to make the moves in the market. So let us use the live market quote page as a tool for our understanding of the market. I'll focus the camera over the live market quote page. Currently, euro is trading around 1.3126, 1.3128, 1.3073 is the low, 1.3129 is the high, 5 pips positive net change is seen. So, on Friday, the closing was around below that of 1.31 level and then made a brief dip during the start of the Japanese session. And then subsequently, you come across they are holding around that of 1.31 area. Similarly, in the case of GBP, they have been showing last week very frequently 1.53 and now they are holding around 1.54 area. 1.5402 is the low, 1.5443 is the high. Then 27 pips negative net change is seen. When the euro is showing nominal positive net change and GBP is showing negative net change, then you understand that they are trying to do some contrarian moves. By that process, they are making a gain in the case of euro GBP. 0.8513, 0.8516 are the current levels in the case of euro GBP, and on 0.8481 is the low, 0.8514 is the high. 17 pips positive net change is seen. Because euro is showing positive net change and GBP is showing negative net change, you find euro GBP is showing a nominal positive net change. So they will try to make an upward stop, and so they are holding it above around that of the high 1.38514 currently, and they could make a brief upward stop and then subsequently drop during the day. And in the case of Japanese yen, 82.86, 82.89 are the current levels. So from that of 83 area, it has come down to 82 area for the week beginning. 82.78 is the low, 82.96 is the high, and 19 pips negative net change is seen. And when GBP and USD yen are showing negative net change, you come across GBP yen has made a dip of about 21 pips. When euro is making positive net change and yen is making negative net change, you find a nominal gain in the case of euro yen. So it is trading around 108.79 and 108.85 is the high, 108.44 is the low, just hardly about 40 pips swing is seen in the case of euro yen, and it's showing 5 pips positive net change. In the case of GBP, it is hardly showing about 25 pips or 28 pips swing. So you come across it is showing 22 pips negative net change. From that as a high, they made a drop of 25 pips, and they are holding around that of the low now. Probably they could make one or two dips below that of the low and then subsequently gain the levels. And also in the case of USD yen, you could come across that it is going to 84 area in this particular week. So we could come across year-ending close in the case of USD yen will be around 84 to 85 area. And you'll come across unassuming gains happening during the last week of the month and the year. Then USD CHF is hovering around that of 0.96 and it came down to 0.95 area last week and also briefly below that of 0.95 area, and then subsequently it went up to 0.96 and slightly gained some more levels and then hovering around that of 0.96 area. About 10 pips negative net change is seen in the case of USD CHF. When euro is showing about 4 pips positive net change, CHF is showing 10 pips negative net change. So they intend to make a drop in the case of euro CHF for the week beginning. So it is currently trading around 1.2617, 1.2621, 1.2602 is the low, 1.2621 is the high. And you come across 7 pips negative net change, they could make a dip below that at the psychological level 1.26 and then subsequently gain the levels in the case of Euro, USD, CHF as well as Euro. As a result, you will find due to contrarian move, Euro CHF is expected to gain. Before the last week of the month, they made the penultimate week of the month, they made all the dips. So we can understand that year end, they wanted to make an aggressive upward close. So we will be able to read that we have read their intentions and we will be able to see that intention is being revealed in this particular week. Then in the case of USD CAD, it is trading around 1.0078, 1.0082, 1.0079 is the low, 1.0109 is the high, and you find 3 pips negative net change. And Australian dollar is also showing about 13 pips negative net change. It is trading around 1.0032, 1.0035, and briefly they made a downward stop on 0.9989 and they wanted to hold above that of the parity in the case of Australian dollar and make further gains during this particular week. So avoid taking sell and buy trades. You can do buy and sell trade because year end they wanted to close it above that of the parity in the case of Australian dollar. So in the case of Canadian dollar and the Australian dollar, you come across negative net change. So this is a typical contrarian move they make during the week beginning. And here you find that they are handling the crosses predominantly during the start of the week. And people might be uncertain what could happen to that other market. Probably because of thin volume condition, the market may not make any big way upward or the downward move. But you know that year after year, during the last week of the month, suddenly you'll come across the volume sprouting and the players make use of that and trying to gain the levels or lose the levels. There are two options possible for them. And as they have accumulated for the prolonged period by dropping and buying all the currency pairs, they are expected to gain the levels in all the pairs and then close it at a higher level for the year end. And then subsequently, New Year, they are expected to make aggressive upward move in all the currencies alternatively in order to change the mindset of the traders, because the traders are now having a bearish view with regard to the market and they will try to change the bearish to that of the bullish view and then try to book profit with regard to their buy positions. So as far as the players are concerned, they are neither bullish nor bearish, but they only tell others that try to be bullish or try to be bearish. And when all turn bearish, they try to buy it when the traders freely sell it at the lower level. And when all turn bullish and try to buy at a higher level, they are the sellers. So that is what is happening every time. So we should be able to understand that and trade accordingly rather than trying to go with that of the market sentiment. Now let me go back to that of the PowerPoint presentation. So what are the expected moves in this particular week? In this day, 27th of December, Japanese session swing and firm up moves are expected. European session swing and rise is expected. US session swing and firm up move could be seen. And so a nominal gain could be seen during this particular day. It will just add further confirmation that the volume is very, very low and things like that. And then gradually you will come across sudden activity happening in the market, either from that of the European session today or from that of the Japanese session tomorrow. Then last week of the month and the year, so you know that year-end moves will be much more aggressive than that of the month-end moves. We know that month-end they make such a big volatile move and the range should be about 300 to 500 pips on the upside or the downside. So year end they could make such a big move in the market, creating some rumor or creating some attribute ultimately, and thereby they could bring in the move, and that might take all the traders by surprise. Because we know very well market means to bring surprises from time to time. So either it could be a natural surprise or it can be an induced surprise by creating rumors, etc. So keep an eye on it, and according to my estimate, the market is at the lowest level. So some may say that it might be at the intermediary level. Downside is still possible in this particular week, but my forecast algorithm says that it is on the lower side and they are expected to gain the levels. So keep an optimal view, and you can listen to all the views, but you have to use the trading strategy if you are holding positions. Otherwise, if you want to take positions, try to see that they are not breaching the high or breaching the low for more than 30 minutes, and near that of the low you take a buy position, or near that of the high you take a sell position. That way you try to decide on the swing trade, and also try to see that you are able to keep stop at entry. So that is very, very important, so that you will not be caught vulnerable in the market when they make a surprise move. Then with regard to the initial lows and the highs, so 1.3073, 1.3129 are the lows and the highs in the case of Euro, they are intact. And similarly in the case of GBP also, 1.5402, 1.5443 are the levels, and they are respected at the moment. And CHF, they breached the low by 2 pips, 96.12 was the low, and 96.10 has become the new low, and the high is intact, so they are trying to make little more dip in the case of USD CHF. Then they could make further drop in CHF. That is how they indicate it. Then USD Yen 82.78 and 82.96 are the levels. They are not breached. And in the case of Australian dollar, the lows and the highs are intact. Then in the case of Canadian dollar, 1.00979 and 1.0109 are intact. So excepting Swiss franc, all other currencies, they are not breached the high or the low. So you could come across more action in the case of Swiss franc. And yes, on Friday they made the upward move in the case of Swiss franc. So they could make a weak beginning downward move to start with, and then subsequently they are expected to trigger the market to make a USD weakening move, then followed by that Swiss franc, yen, and also Canadian dollar. They are expected to gain the levels to continue the contrarian move in this particular week, the last week of the month and the year. Let me minimize the PowerPoint presentation and focus the camera over that of the live market code page, and take up the questions which are asked here. Then Rob, what is the expected level for GBP and Euro for this year end? See, the potency in a week in the case of Euro is about 350 pips on the upside or on the downside. My expectation is on the upside, or my algorithm says that there could be an upside gain in the case of Euro and GBP. In the case of GBP, it can gain or lose about 600 pips in a week. So again, on the upside, the move is expected. Then you can estimate what could be the levels they can reach. Then Arun, what level can we close the Euro and GBP for the year end? I already answered that question. Do players make the big moves during the holidays? Yeah, there are so many occasions they have made big moves during the holidays. It is not a thumb rule that they should not make any big moves during the holidays. There are several occasions when Japan is in holiday, they have made big moves in the case of Japanese yen. Similarly, when Europe is in holiday, they have made big moves in the case of Euro and GBP. When it is a holiday throughout the world, then probably they may not make such big moves, because obviously the volume will be very, very thin in the market. But if it is a localized holiday and they try to make use of it and try to make that particular currency either very strong or very weak, during that particular day. So there is no guarantee that holiday means the market has to make subdued moves, but we can read it based on the volatility they bring into that of the market. And if they breach the high and the low, you know that they intend to make big moves during the day. And if they don't even breach the high or the low and continue to remain in the same level for about 2 sessions, then you come across the impact of the holiday, and thereby they are not making any big moves. So when they will make big moves, there are 2 possibilities. One, in order to attract the volume, they can bring quick volatility in the market. So suddenly people will be informed that the market is making big moves because of the rumor or something like that. Then the traders will try to suddenly take positions. That is one possibility. Otherwise, if there are pending positions and the players, in order to get liquidity in the market, make big moves so that the liquidity is being achieved. So if the desired level of 1 pip, 5 pips below and things like that, they may not be able, or above, they may not be able to find adequate volume. So in order to do the short covering and the long liquidation, they can make the spread wider. As a result, when the liquidity is achieved, you will find the market would have made big moves. Then ask her, do you see sterling dropping continuously? That is downtrend to 53 area. See, that is what all are telling. And we know pretty well in the market, when the sentiment is created, then immediately the levels can be estimated using the chart and continuing the channel, and we can say 1.53 is the low, or 1.49 could be the low, or 1.43 could be the low. We can continue to draw it. It's a never ending. We can just draw it to that of 0. If you continue the channel, it will come to 0 at one infinite time. But market does not make such way the moves. So we have to understand the limitations of it. And probably we can just estimate the support and the resistance and say that, okay, up to this 1.53 support, it might drop, or 1.51 it can drop, or 1.4750 it can drop. We can continue to draw it like that. But ultimately what we need to know is whether it's going to really make a drop or a rise. So for that, we are trying to use various other type of statistical analysis. And my algorithm says that upward move is the great potency in the market in this particular week, and also first 3 months of 2011. And Sam, what is the expected level in GBP and Euro for this year? And I given the same, about 350 pips gain could be seen from 1.31 area, and about 600 or 500 to 600 pips could be seen in the case of GBP. That is the highest level potency. And if there is moderate moves, then probably you could come across about 200 pips gain in the case of Euro and about 350 pips gain in the case of GBP. When you come across continued subdued moves similar to this, then drop. Do you see weak beginning false move? No, last week and the first week, we don't see weak beginning false move. We come across only volatile moves. So what is the difference between weak beginning false move and the volatile move? Weak beginning false move, if they drop on the first day, then the second and the third day, they are expected to gain the levels. That is weak beginning false move. And if it is a volatile move, and they can continue to make on the upside as well as the downside, the stop and increase the spread, and then continue their move on any one side. So volatility is mainly brought in to create uncertainty in the market. So weak beginning false move, if you identify, then we'll be able to take decisive positions there. Then it can be a good position trade. Suppose if they drop during the first week, if we try to take a buy position, then probably you could see that rise on the second day and the third day, and we can keep stop at entry and try to book profit. Whereas if it is a volatile move, they quickly gain the levels, and if you try to take a position, they drop it, and if you try to take a sell position, they rise it again. So they create more of an uncertainty, so that we need to identify. and which way they wanted to take the market after the volatile moves. That is very, very important. And that is why we go in for so many statistical calculations, and we don't simply perceive the market by looking at the price action alone. And in that process, what happens is the players make the market appear as if it is following the statistics and some of the fundamentals, and then suddenly change it and create surprise. Then immediately people will say that it has followed technicals because of oversold condition, or it has followed fundamentals because of the US weakness and things like that. They can give any sort of attribute or excuses for the market moves. They are all going to be the market commentary. After the move, the comments can be given with any convincing answer. Then with regard to USD CHF, Rob, and it is expected to gain the levels, so we could find initially a drop in order to induce the traders to take a sell position or do a sell and buy trade. Then subsequently they are expected to gain the levels in the case of USD CHF. So when they drop USD CHF, because that is the only currency in which they made the breach of the low, so it could initiate the move. As a result, Euro and GBP could firm up. Then you will come across USD weakening move as such. Then followed by that, they could accumulate the buys at the lower level and then gain back the level in the case of USD CHF. That corresponding drop may not happen in Euro, and it is expected gain. You know that they came down in the case of Euro CHF from 1.30 to 1.25 area, and they are expected to catch up to that particular area. For that, they have to make the contrary move of rising Euro as well as rising USD CHF. So all the efforts they have taken mainly to handle the crosses in a big way last week. So that means they wanted to act on the majors in a big way in this particular week. Then USD CHF and USD Yen, what is the level expected for year end? So USD CHF should go to 0.982. If the volume is good, then it can go above parity by year end. And also USD Yen is expected to go to 95 area at least. And if the volume is good and optimal, not really very good, if it is optimal and a lot of derivative market volume comes in suddenly for the month end, you could come across USD Yen going to 87 area as a quick jump. So anticipate quick jumps in the market for year end. So don't think that the market is going to remain like this, and trade carefully. That's what I say. Normally during the month end and the month beginning time, it is not advisable to do position trade. We should try to focus on swing trade and try to grab as much as possible the profit and think of re-entering into the market rather than trying to hold the position without any stop. So that might look dangerous during the month end and the year end. If you try to hold a position without a stop, then it could lead to the margin call, etc. Because the players need to earn very big money for the last quarter. For that, they are expected to make suddenly the aggressive moves. Because for them, it is a earning process quarter, and end of the quarter, they will try to make aggressive moves suddenly and try to earn or fulfill their objectives of earning certain amount. So obviously for them, it is earning, not showing the levels. So we only talk about the levels Euro has dropped and Euro has gained, and we feel upset when it drops, or we feel elusive when they rise and things like that, but they are not worried about the levels. Even the countries are not worried about the levels. They know very well the market has to make upward and the downward moves, but only the traders worry about that level because they are in the fourth decimal change in the pip. So obviously when you go in for a leverage trade, then we have to worry about such moves. But if you go to the bank and go in for a currency exchange, they give it about 100-200 pips away from the market for your buy and sell. When you go in for a currency conversion, when you want to travel and things like that, when you go in for an exchange of currencies, they will give it quite away from the other market. So they are also not worried really about it. Only the traders are worried about the pip moves. Even if it gains about 10 pips, 20 pips, immediately we just make a remark about it. Whereas in other events, other places, they are not being talked about. Let me repeat it. Do you expect USD CHF and USDN to rise when Euro and GBP rise? Yes, I am expecting a very big contrarian move in this particular week. In May, almost for 1 month Euro drop, if players are buying all the way, what is their average buying price level? So that is what you need to understand. See, for example, they drop it from that of 1.40 in the case of Euro. They buy it at 1.40 and then quickly gain the levels. For that they have to buy. And they have to buy and take it to 1.42 and just offload 200 pips. But their average earning will be about 10 to 20 pips on that, because they need to continue to sell at a lower level to drop the market. So probably up to 1.40 itself they have to sell. Whatever they bought it at 1.40, they rise it up to 1.42 and drop it up to 1.40. So in that they would have made hardly about 10 to 15 pips. Then what happens? They try to sell some of the things. They are, after selling at 1.42 to 1.40, they drop it to 1.38 and then buy it against the sell. Then once they got the adequate buy positions there, then immediately they go in for another sell at 1.38 to 1.36. Then they start buying it at 1.36. This is what they do. And in case the traders have turned short at that level at 1.36 and the players are not, they find that along with them that the traders are also selling, they immediately give a pullback. Then the short sellers go in for a short covering and they sell it to them and bring it down. So in that process, you find that hardly they earn nominal money. But after coming to about 35, 36, they drop and buy. They just quickly make about 50 pips drop and buy. That they achieve it by selling about 1,000 lots and buying 10,000 lots. Then again selling 1,000 lots or 2,000 lots and buying 10,000 lots. This is how they acquire the positions. So after coming to that of the lower level, they consolidate. They buy against all their sells and then turn long. After turning long, they know that the traders are also taking buys. Then they try to make downward stop. This is how you come across shift in trading zone and the consolidations. So lower level consolidation with a downward stop, and they do it in order to make an upward move afterwards. So whenever you come across no upward stop and only the lower level stop, that means they want to take the market up. So if you think that the players are keeping the market condition visible to us, then we are cheated. That means we are not understood the market. What appears in the market is not true. We have to keep it always an objective view of the market, and they make the market appear weak and they try to buy it and gain quickly the levels using some trigger. You know that on a daily basis they can use different type of triggers. You know, on Thursday, during the US session last week, there was no news, but they made a big quick rise in the case of Euro and GBP and quickly dropped it. And everybody was searching what is the reason for it. If you search for the reason, we might find the reason for it, but you have missed the trade, that's all. So their averaging price will be now around 1.27 to 1.28 area, because they have been consolidating around 1.31 for a prolonged period. 1.31 they buy and then rise it to 1.32, book profit, and again come to 1.35, 31 and buy. So when they add every time 100 pips profit for the lower level consolidation, it can come to 1.28 or 1.27. So that in the event of a sudden natural calamity or anything of that nature happens beyond their control, they'll be able to exit out of their positions without any loss. So if they become aggressive seller of their buys, then even then the market can come only up to 1.28 or 1.29 by the time they would have exited from all their positions. So they always do this particular planning first. then only they gain the levels. Because why they gain the levels? After taking the buy positions, in order to book profit, they have to necessarily gain the levels. And similarly, after the gaining the levels, they have to necessarily book profit. And they know very well, after gaining the levels, the traders will also try to take a sell. Then if the traders try to sell, then obviously they will not be able to sell. So immediately they buy all those sells and take it up further high and then try to distribute. So we have to understand the trick. When the traders turn sellers, they buy it. When the traders turn buyers, they sell it. So they go with that of the predominant number of traders who are taking positions, not individual traders. Then drop. What is expected close level for the year end in GBPN? As you know that with regard to the crosses, there is no limitations. And obviously, when there is no limitation, they can either make a big rise or a big drop. But I am expecting the contrarian move, rising GBP as well as USDN. They are now currently dipped all the currencies. They are showing negative net change. Now you can see. So this is how they are very aggressive in making the contrarian move. And GBPN is expected to gain the level to 1.31 to 1.32 area. That process. Then SW. Who are the players? Banks? No, they are all the richest of the richest in the world, and their money is being effectively deployed in the investment market, and they make aggressive moves in the market. And because they are politically well connected and they have got very great money power as well as the political influence, they can make the moves in the market in such a way so that they continue to earn further big money. Otherwise, such big money cannot be deployed anywhere to make money, further money. Then DDP, Australian dollar, what level do you expect? Australian dollar is expected to go to 1.02 area for year end. Devangam. Once you said that, now CHF also has become a tradable pair. Is it okay now? Yes, it has become a tradable pair. Now gradually you find, earlier it was making only 10 to 15 pips swing on a daily basis, and now you find it has started making 100 pips move. And similarly, yen also started making 100 pips move. Initially, you find that between the high and the low, the narrow spread is seen on all the currencies, and at the end of the day, you find at least 75 to 100 pips spread is seen between the high and the low. So that means they are bringing more swings in the market. So these are all the questions. So let me go back to the other PowerPoint presentation. So expected market moves for today. Swing and firm up move during that of the Japanese session. Swing and rise, that is a middle level swing, and further rise during that of the European session. US session could show some drop and firming up move. So it is the last week of the month. So, and also for the year, sudden volatile moves could come into that of the market. Be prepared for that. Any day it can happen. And accordingly, you or wait for such moves to take positions rather than simply take position and expecting the market to go up or come down. You better wait for such great opportunities of big moves happening in the market, then try to take positions. That will give you a better yield for you for the year end. So with regard to the initial lows and the highs, only in the case of USD CHF, they breached the low, but subsequently it has come above that of 96.12. So we have to see whether they are going to drop it or not. Then all other currencies, they are all making swings between the lows and the highs. So we may have to watch. But currently they have made all the net changes negative. That means they are very, very active in the case of crosses, making some extreme moves for the day in the crosses for the traders to liquidate if there are pending positions, and then subsequently they wanted to make the moves according to the desire or according to their methodology. Thereby they will be able to earn from the other cross. Last week they have focused more on the crosses. This week, now so far they are focusing on the crosses, and I am expecting them to come to that of the majors in a big way in this particular week, and following by that in 2011. So we will continue to review it on a daily basis till Thursday, that is 30th, during the Asian session live market analysis, and see how exactly the volatility is coming into the other market. So I take this opportunity to thank FX Street and also you people who have come here to listen to my analysis. So I'll continue to post it in the blog and we will see how far the market is taking action during the day. Thank you one and all for your kind presence.